All right, all right. If you watched the Raw 20 by 20 earlier this week, you know that I enjoyed the show. And there was a bit in there in which I talked about Pete Dunne and how awesome his appearance on Raw was. It was awesome enough that I even said I'd maybe even give 205 a go for the first time ever. And I did. You clicked or tapped on this video, so obviously I did. Apparently, Enzo debuted a new show called The Zoe Show, in the vein of Miss TV, The Cutting Edge, Carlitos Cabana, The Highlight Reel, The Peep Show, you get it. And the audience repeatedly chanted, boring, 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 multiple times throughout the whole thing. And I can't say I blame them, because only two things managed to keep me awake during the whole shebang: the debuting UK wrestlers and my own cautious curiosity. Enzo isn't exactly world renowned for his in ring wrestling ability, but during the whole time that he was partnered with Big Cass, credit was always given to him for being able to talk the talk well enough for the both of them. But nowadays, he just goes on and on. It's just like with Jinder. He does the same promo every goddamn time, and I just don't care for it anymore. And the fans in attendance certainly didn't either, and it was just cringe inducing watching him try to work in the boring chants into his work. It just sucked donkey balls. The video packages for the UK wrestlers were all really good, though. They were the rare little nuggets of gold in the giant pile of Barney the dinosaur colored shit. It allowed the men to show some personality and give us a bit of a backstory to who they are and how they got to the biggest stage in pro wrestling. So that was well done. And while we're here, I'd also like to point out that Nigel McGuinness and Vic Joseph do a great job on commentary in spite of what they have to work with. I was already familiar with McGuinness's work from NXT, but I had never heard Joseph's work, and I can honestly say I'm a new fan. Hats off to the both of them. They're also little gold nuggets in the pile of Barney shit. If you saw last week's Raw, or even if you missed it, you might have heard that Heath Slater, Rhino, Anderson, and Gallows were put in a trick or street fight, and I wanted to hit something as I said that, and that was depressing to see because it showed how little the company really cares for all four of those men. Since this is my first time watching 205, I didn't watch last week's show, and I'm certainly glad that I didn't, because apparently they had Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann wrestle in clown costumes, like they had the four aforementioned men do so on Raw. I honestly don't even want to try to be funny as I say this. This is the kind of shit that Jim Cornette says makes modern wrestling an absolute shit show. At least it didn't make them wrestle a pair of elementary schoolgirls, eh? I guess. What a silver lining. Jack Gallagher and Kalisto had a match, and it was a decent match, but also a pointless one because it helped neither of them. The crowd was dead for it, and I was dead for it. Post match, it felt like the crowd just did Kalisto's little lucha lucha taunt out of pity, and that's just sad. There was a tag team match featuring Cedric Alexander, whom they had wearing clown makeup last week, if I may remind you, and Mark Andrews versus James Drake and Joseph Connors, the latter three men being part of the debuting UK division. And it was a sound tag team wrestling match. I'd like to think that you'd be hard pressed to find people who'd say that the talents featured on this show can't work, because they absolutely can, and this match was a testament to that. So that credit's due where it's due, and I think it's safe to say that all four men did as much as they could. Oh, and Mark Andrews hits one beautiful shooting star press. It was almost like I was back in 2008, watching Evan Bourne doing it. Enzo Amore versus Tyler Bate was another good match, but again, the crowd was mostly dead quiet for it, even though the fans were obviously behind Bate throughout the entirety of the show. I was honestly tired by this point, since I finished watching this at 22:30 in the night, and I just wanted it to be over. Kalisto also ran out to save Bate post-match after Enzo started pummeling him, but I can't say that I cared, and the audience didn't care either. With all of this said, if this channel wasn't a thing, I honestly think I'd tell you that I'd never watch 205 again. I'd be one and done, but because it is, I might give it a go again next week only for the UK talent. Because I'm stubbornly hopeful, and that is due to the fact that I have been watching WWE's product consistently for over 10 years. I have seen plenty of the bad and plenty of the good in that time, and it takes a special kind of bad and uneventful to make me give up on something for good. But I do not like to trash my wrestling. I am a fan. I want to care and be entertained. If you're one of those odd people that watch this show, I feel sorry for you first off, but I want you to let me know what you think by leaving a comment or write to Wrestling 20 by 20 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Wrestling 20 by 20. And if you'd be so kind, hit a shooting star press on the subscribe button. But watch the landing. Don't hurt yourself. You're not a wrestler. You don't know how to do a shooting star press, right? Until next time, this was 20 by 20, and I hope to see you here for the NXT episode. So thanks for tuning in. I hope I didn't depress you too much. I know I feel